First of all, I do apologize for any vibrational noise of, those will be like notifications and stuff that will come in possibly. Also, I might be a little distracted as I record this because I'm watching the 49ers and Rams right now. But I thought I'd come on here and give my thoughts on this that came out from, that came out, and I got to give credit, first of all, to Lightning Bliss. Lightning Bliss, one of the more notable Pegasisters of the MLP community. She basically retweeted this, and she was not too thrilled about hearing this herself, because it's like, it's one thing to not like something, but it's another to flat out boo the people that, work on that something, currently or at that time, or for this for the moment that, is the now. But anyway, one of the people that did work on the show, and she has been a fan herself, called Emalu, she tweeted this out, and again, got to give credit to Lightning Bliss for retweeting it for everybody else to see. But Emalu said this, and I quote, "I've seen a lot of negativity, but also, okay, let me reread this. This is what Emalu said, and I quote, "I've seen a lot of negativity, but also a lot of positivity from newer fans. Some people loved the generation, whatever others decided." Okay, I did a misread here. But let me reread this, okay? So they said, and I quote, this is Emalu, at Emalu Art. This is what they said, and I quote, "I've seen a lot of negativity, but also a lot of positivity from newer fans. Some people loved the generation, whatever others decided if it was shit. I've heard booing at conventions when G5 was mentioned, while I've seen people wearing full merch of G5 characters." So that right there is kind of like, coming from somebody that worked on the show, kind of surprising that the other ones noticing it themselves. Now, they did go back and forth with one fan. As I'm, again, watching the game here. They did communicate with one fan, and this fan, DJTHED, this is what they said in response, and I quote, "The booing thing really gets to me. People who do that needs a slap on the wrist or something. These conventions shouldn't be about excluding people who like or worked on something you don't like. It screams entitlement, and I don't want that to continue at pony conventions." Now, Emalu said this in response. They said, "Unfortunately, it happened during the opening ceremony. Staff were apologizing to Misty voice actor, but what a shame, really. People just need to behave." So yeah, apparently the voice actress for Misty was getting booed during the opening ceremonies. And look, hold on first. So, like I said, I got the game on, but it's one thing to express yourself, even if it's in a very rude manner, but it's another to express yourself in a rude manner, I should say, towards somebody that goes out of the way every day, or just about every day, or every other day, and essentially does their job to entertain you. And I don't think that's good. I don't think that's fun. I don't think that's right. I mean, it's one thing if you're watching a wrestling event. It's one thing to go out and boo essentially the heels and everything. You have that right. And you have the right to boo the faces if you don't like them. If you feel like they're shoved down your throat and stuff. You have that right. But here's the difference between a wrestling event and a convention. A convention is basically where you get to learn about some of the behind the scenes information. Get to know the actors and actresses, the writers and the staff better. With wrestling, unless it's a live house show, live event, non-televised, most of the time, yeah, you can boo and cheer whoever you want. But sometimes, it's done out of, respect and playing along with what you see. You're basically expressing, yourself. You're basically expressing yourself and how you feel about it. But it's understandable because the wrestlers in a way are trained, if you will, to tolerate that. Yeah, does it, bother them at times? Yeah, it does bother them, but they learn to work with it. Like, okay, you want to boo me? I'll give you a reason to boo me. You want to cheer me? I'll give you a reason to cheer me, and so on. Even when they're trying to be heels, but fans want to cheer them, they do what they can to get the fans to boo them, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work unless they say or do something, that's... So I guess I'm watching the game, but, yeah, it does bother the wrestlers at times, and sometimes they try to play up being heelish by telling the crowds to shut up or go to hell and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll work temporarily, but most of the time the fans will be like, oh, they're just trying to be, a heel and everything, and they know we love them and what have you. But again, I know it's a weird comparison to make. It is a weird comparison to make, but it's basically the fact that at a convention, the person that comes up, whether it's a voice actor or actress or director or writer or producer, they don't come up there to get booed. They're not coming up there being the bad guy and everything and saying, ha ha, G5 is better than G4. No, they're coming up there because they want to thank you, the fans, for supporting them. They're going up there to let you know more about them, So it's a strange comparison, but that's the big difference. And when I read this information, this information and everything, it kind of gets me, wondering about something, because there's more to this than what I just read to you. More to it. Because here's what MLP said as well on Saturday. Here's what they said, and I quote, "Coming back from my grave to see G5 might be canceled. I'm sad it had to happen. I wish people would be nicer to G6 if there is one happening even. I feel like Hasbro kind of gave up on the My Little Pony license." Now, here's the key words there. The key words. Okay, like I said, if you want to look at those key words here, it's like because what they're saying is they're coming back from the grave, figuratively, because they don't communicate that much. To see G5 might be canceled. Key words there, might be canceled. He says, "I'm sad." They say, "I'm sad it had to happen. I wish people would be nicer to G6." Paraphrase, quote, "If there is one happening even. I feel like Hasbro kind of gave up on the My Little Pony license." Now, I read that, and for them to say might be canceled, and G6, if a G6 is happening, to them makes it feel like, Hasbro basically said, yeah, we're done. But that's not the only thing they said. They said they said a lot here, so it's going to be a bit. But basically they said, and I quote, "I'm still super proud of what we did for the movie, even if I read terrible things about me drawing dogs instead of ponies, or that it was a mistake to hire a fan. I'm still super proud, and no hater could ever take that away from me. I think G5 had potential, but not well exploited." Now, again, I'm reading this, and this makes me kind of believe that, something is awry here, if you know what I mean. And like I said, I read that right there, and for them to say something like no hater could ever take that away from me, because they're proud of the work, and you should be. I read that, and I'm thinking, okay, something is not right in Denmark, if you know what I mean. Now, they continue on, and I quote, I've seen a lot of negativity, but also some positivity. Okay, this is what I read to you earlier. Basically, them talking about negativity and positivity from fans and stuff like that. And basically, just, trying to put a bad taste in people's mouth, and how others are trying to counter that by putting a good taste and so on. Basically, a lot of negativity, but saw a lot of positivity from new fans. Some people loved the generation, while others decided it was shit. I've heard booing at conventions when G5 was mentioned. Well, I've seen people wearing full merch of G5 characters. And that's a counteract. Yeah, people are going to boo, but, they're also going to accept. They're also going to give it a chance, like I do. I give it a chance. Sorry about that interruption, but like I said, she mentioned that one thing I said at the beginning about the positivity, negativity with the fans and all that. But then she also says, the last 3 years were mixed feelings of that. I'm glad it happened, and in some ways, I wish I could not care at all. I wish I wasn't reading the worst of my art at 3 a.m. I wish it never made me an art block. I wish it never made me had an art block since the release. I wish I never was a brony in the first place. Now, that's not good, for you to say you don't wish you were not a brony. Now, to continue on to say, maybe if I was far away from the fandom, I wouldn't be so much hurt, but I'm glad I was still in there, and I wish I had more into it as well. G5 was an experience for me that made me grow as an artist. Working on it improved my art in such a good way, and I met new friends thanks to it. Continuing on. Anyways, I'm bad at writing here. Okay, she said, they say, and again, I quote, anyways, I'm bad at writing here with some thoughts. I hope G6 will be fun to watch. Thank you for, okay, now somebody else continued on and says, and this is a Toonie Lou, Helen from Central Park era. They replied by saying, thanks for your contribution. I hope you know that Sunny and Izzy will always be iconic. So you see, there are some fans. There are some fans and everything. And then Emilu writes back, they always be in her heart, and Izzy is stuck on her arm, so she's never leaving her side. In other words, she's got a tattoo of her. She got a tattoo of her and everything. But the reason I bring this up is, one, it's just kind of weird that, a convention is about celebrating the fans, celebrating the show, the franchise that you are part of. It's one thing to, go and be part of that. Like everybody's going to be part of BabsCon, the last BabsCon this next year. I hope to be part of it in Burlingame, San Francisco. But, everybody comes together with these kind of events to celebrate. They don't come to harass. They don't come to boo. They don't come to ridicule, if you know what I mean. Nobody comes to, basically insult and, be rude and, boo things, out of spite, just because it's not G4 or just because it's not, like with Transformers. Somebody did what was called Transformers Deviations, and that comic from IDW was a take on what if Transformers the movie didn't have Optimus Prime die, and more or less what it really was a hate letter, not a love letter, a hate letter to, and sorry about that, 49ers got a touchdown there, I think. Okay, like I said, 49ers just got a touchdown, leading 14-0 now. But anyway, like I was saying, basically, IDW did a book called Transformers Deviations, and it is basically, a what if of Transformers the movie 1986, and whether or not, what would happen if Optimus Prime didn't die, if he didn't die in the movie, like he originally did. And, I read, I watched the review, I should say, not read the comic. I want to read the comic eventually. But I watched Linkara's review of The Top of the Fourth Wall. And basically, I think he said it himself in his own way that what that book was by IDW and the writers behind it, or the writer behind it, was a hate letter. You heard me. A hate letter to the characters of season 3 and the movie that replaced the original characters of season 1 and 2 of Transformers G1. That's basically what it was. Because all of those characters that replaced the season 1 and 2 G1 characters, including Optimus, were killed off. That's what happened. Essentially, that's what happened. And I look at that, or I think about that, I should say, and it makes me think about what's going on here. That basically, when fans, as described here, and again, I got to give a shout out to Lightning Bliss for informing a lot of fans like myself, of basically, this situation, and essentially, long story short, you're kind of getting that same kind of feeling here when you have a fan who was hired on to work on this new generation basically telling you, and you have everybody else coming to the defense of, hey, don't do that. When you hear basically, fans booing the mention of G5, that's almost, I wouldn't say it's close to it, but it's, almost equivalent to, that Transformers deviation on how that was a hate letter of a comic, a hate letter of a comic, from a fan to basically, the season 1 and not season 1, but the season 3 G1 characters of Transformers. You kind of get that same feeling when you hear people booing G5, and you have people wanting it to fail and everything. And this is why I feel that the news, basically that's come out recently about G5 coming to an end in October, and that's it. And we have to wait till 2026 at least for a new generation. It makes me wonder if that news is actually true or not. Because one thing people question about is, well, if this is legit, then why are you crossing out the names? Why are you crossing out the names? And, oh, where's the signature that says it's from Hasbro? And, it's just a lot of mixed situations here. And I do not blame people for being suspicious. And when I read stuff like this coming from a fan who worked on G5, and them saying they're hearing news and rumors of, G5 might be canceled and G6 may happen or may not happen. It's like, yeah, you put all those pieces together, and you kind of, sift through them, if you will. You kind of come to realize that there might be something not right. Like, there's an old saying, if something smells rotten in Denmark, that's basically what this feels like. Something smells not good here. It's like something is off-scented, and the odor is just accumulating all across, and it's an odor of possible false deception. And now I could be wrong, and maybe the news that we've been hearing is true. But again, I look at Emmalou coming out and talking about this. I'm hearing all and them acknowledging it, and them hearing about fans. But again, it just feels like you piece all these together as best you can. You sift through what you can to try to connect the dots, and you come to realize, yeah, something is amiss. Something is amiss in everything here that we don't know about. And again, why? Because again, the one thing that people are wondering about is like, well, why won't anybody say, officially and confidentially that this is indeed from Hasbro? This information. Why won't anybody say that? Why won't anybody come out and acknowledge that. And the truth is, I think it's because of the fact that, I think it's because of the fact that, basically those that are putting out this information realize that if the information they're putting out is false, and even people like Emilu are going like, now I'm hearing it might happen, and G6 might happen or may not happen, the cancellation may or may not happen, stuff like that. When you have someone that worked on G5 even doing that, and then adding in, like I said, the booing, and it's like okay, something is not right here. It's like something again. It's just one of those reasons, and I know I'm sounding like I'm rambling a lot here. And again, I do apologize. I have the 49ers and Rams on right now, while I'm recording this. But it just really feels like when you look at all these pieces and you try to piece them together like a detective, you come to realize that maybe like I said, there's something rotten in Denmark, something's not right. And look, if you have an issue with G5, then just say it. And again, if Hasbro was doing a G6, I would believe what I mentioned in the last video to be true. I would believe them wanting people like Equestria Daily and such to take down the artwork or the leaked artwork of G6, because they don't want anybody to know about it, just yet. They want to be the ones to say it. So I would believe part of that. But the G5 thing, for one, when a company comes out and cancels something as prominent as My Little Pony and one of their generations, they let it be known. They don't hide who it's from and who signed it. They don't cross it out. So to me, there is something amiss there. There's something not right there, if you know what I mean. And again, the timing, the timing of this tweet by Emilu, and everything, and what they're describing, I feel like there's something there. Something, is percolating and not in a good way. But we'll have to see. But if they're being suspicious just by them saying, hey, I'm hearing it might be canceled, and G6 may or may not happen, and Hasbro gave up and everything, if they're kind of wording it like that, to me, and they feel kind of like they're being attacked personally by people that don't like what they did. And then you also have people personally booing and attacking verbally the voice actress from Misty Bright Dawn. It's like, okay, something is just not right. And I think this was a convention that just took place recently. And the timing of, like I said, the tweets and everything of, G5, of the reports of G5's done and all that. The timing of it feels kind of weird because it happened, I think, around the same time the convention did. And if it is the same convention where all this took place in, yeah, something is not right. And a lot of people, like I've said before, a lot of fans are not buying into this because they look at, the names of where it's from and who it's from is all scribbled out. It's like, okay, if it's true, then we should be able to see who it's from and who signed it, because that's what they would do professionally. They wouldn't do something that, they wouldn't do something like that. So to me, I think honestly, as crazy as this sounds, I think there's some kind of a connection here, but we'll have to see. Hasbro themselves, hopefully will come out and talk about this. They will come out and say, look, we don't know where this came from, but it's either true, but it's not true, or they come out and say, we didn't want the information to get out until we were ready, but yes, it's true. They have to let us know officially one way or another to stop the confusion, to stop the confusion, of the fans, by whoever's doing this and everything. And again, to me, all of this seems to connect too conveniently. But let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about this whole situation with the Emilu stuff and what they said, and the booing of the voice actress for Missing Bright Dawn, and the booing of G5 period? And do you think there is a connection to the news that's come out, the quote-unquote news of G5 being canceled and ending next month, when Hasbro themselves haven't really come out and confirmed anything? Let me know. Comment down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and until next time, guys, I am out.